My name is Nava, and I am a sociologist. As such, I'm always looking into what is working in society and what is not. People usually need support systems to survive and thrive. The family is, of course, the most common of them. Within the family, people should feel secure at all times. Sadly, it is within the family that some people, both adults and children, are victimized by other family members. Unless we address the issues that are troubling the family structure, we will continue to have problems that spill from the family into the larger society because the support systems for the individual are deteriorating. So let's begin with domestic violence, which affects millions of people worldwide, and its damage gets passed from one generation to the next. So much has been written and said about domestic violence. Nonetheless, there are many misconceptions that still persist, and they need to be addressed. When we think of domestic violence, we imagine a woman covered with bruises. Of course that happens, but domestic violence is much more than that.
Domestic violence is a pattern. Let me repeat, a pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain or maintain power and control over another intimate partner. I emphasize the word pattern because it is not about a one-time occurrence. It may have different components at different times, but regardless of which form it takes, it becomes a pattern of abuse. There are different types of domestic violence: physical, sexual, emotional, economic, and psychological. Physical is obviously the most visible. Nonetheless, any of them can be very damaging to the person, and domestic violence often occurs as a combination of several or all of them. Domestic violence includes behaviors that intimidate, manipulate, humiliate, isolate, frighten, terrorize, coerce, threaten, blame, hurt, injure, or wound someone. Physical abuse includes hitting, slapping, shoving, grabbing, pinching, biting, hair pulling, denying a partner medical care, forcing alcohol or drug use upon him or her, among other forms of physical harm. Of course, its worst manifestation is when the victim is actually killed. Sexual abuse includes coercing or attempting to coerce any sexual contact or behavior without consent, like marital rape, attack on sexual parts of the body, treating the person in a sexually demeaning manner, etc. Emotional abuse includes undermining an individual's sense of self-worth or self-esteem by constant criticism, belittling, name-calling, or damaging one's relationship with his or her children. Economic abuse includes making or attempting to make an individual financially dependent by maintaining total control over financial resources, withholding one's access to money, or forbidding one's attendance to school or employment. Psychological abuse includes intimidation, threatening physical harm to self, partner, children, or partners' families or friends, destruction of pets and property, and forcing isolation from family, friends, or school or work. Anyone can commit domestic violence, men and women. One of the reasons many of us do not prepare an emergency kit is because we tend to think an emergency won't happen to us. It is similar with domestic violence. We can be nice people, but different circumstances in our lives can change us. Among those factors are alcohol and drug abuse, having been abused as a child, witnessing domestic violence as a child, dependency on the partner, neurophysiological deficits, stress from challenges in life, toxic environments, and even side effects of medications can put us at risk of becoming offenders. Dr. Amen relates in one of his books how a husband was becoming abusive because at work he had a toxic environment that was affecting his brain and therefore his behavior. Likewise, again, legal or illegal drugs can affect how much control we have over our actions and makes us prone to commit domestic violence. On the other hand, anyone can become a victim, including men and women. Domestic violence happens among people of all economic levels, all ethnic groups, and all levels of education. Domestic violence does not discriminate. Factors increasing the chances of becoming a victim include alcohol and drug abuse, having been abused as a child, and witnessing domestic violence as a child, among others.
This concludes our presentation today. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll tune in again for the next one. See you then.